G'day, you're watching The Reader at Down Under Tarot, coming to you from the wide brown lands. Today I have my first deck review and test drive. As mentioned in my intro video, my reviews will be something different from the standard flip-throughs, walkthroughs, and deep dives. For a start, I may not be showing all the cards, especially of Tarot de Marseille based decks. There's not a lot of point to showing all the pip cards as they really deviate that much from the standard pattern of tokens, leaves, and flowers. So I'll be focusing on where most of a deck's distinctiveness lies, in the trumps and the courts. Secondly, the decks I'll be reviewing won't always be hot off the press, because it's unlikely creators will be sending me any for review for quite some time. And it's also likely that some of the decks that I review will not be getting a lot of praise. Also, buying and shipping decks to Australia is expensive, so the decks I'll be reviewing will most likely be those I've decided are worth investing in, even if I haven't used them much to date. And lastly, I'll be giving sample readings using the review decks to see if it gives me a different perspective on the question and that it adds value to the interpretation I would get if I just used a standard Marseille, Waitesmith, or Thoth deck. So with that out of the way, today I'll be reviewing the Tarot de Jaques Vieville by Artisan Tarot, and the standard I'll be comparing it to is the CBD Tarot de Marseille by Yoav Ben-Dov, a deck widely regarded as a reference point for Tarot de Marseille, published by US Games and widely available from the usual online merchants. Yes, I know the convert deck the CBD is based on is a late Type 2 deck, and some of you may say that a Type 1 deck should be the standard, especially when comparing it to an old deck like the Vieville. But I feel most viewers will recognise and relate to the CBD better. The Vieville deck, as a whole, is very well produced. It has a lovely slippery cardstock and the artwork is excellent, with colour fades, especially on the pip cards, instead of the standard blocks of simple colours. Also, there's no little white book with this deck. Some say that's no great loss, but I appreciate them, especially if they're written by the deck creator and not just a copy and paste of the Waitesmith divinatory meanings. The book that comes with the CBD is quite good. Okay, so let's look at the cards. As you can see, most of the figures in the cards and the rest of the items are facing the other way. Now, I can't believe that the people who produced the Vieville deck did not understand that when you see an image in the right way up on a wooden block that was used for printing back then, that the image would not come out reversed when you put ink on it and pressed it onto a piece of card. The Emperor, though, is facing the same way as in the CBD. So is the Hierophant, for that matter, or the Pope. And the Lovers. Now, it's interesting here that while most of the cards are reversed, the numbers aren't. We can see here that the Chariot has been labelled number 8, whereas the Chariot in the CBD and most other Vieville decks, or sorry, standard Tarot Marseille decks is number 7. And those numbers have been switched to Justice. So Justice is 7 in the Vieville, and Justice is 8 normally in Tarot de Marseille. Here's another difference. The Hermit is labelled number 11, whereas the Hermit regularly is number 9. Wheel of Fortune is reversed. Strength in the Vieville deck is labelled number 9. Here's an interesting difference. The Hanged Man is inverted, or in a normal human orientation. If you're going to read the the number XII or 12 correctly. There's the death card. Temperance is quite different, as is the devil. Now, the later cards in the Vieville are quite different. Instead of a lightning-struck tower, we have a storm above a tree and a shepherd and his flock cowering beneath it. The star shows an astrologer with his instruments. The moon is a woman and her distaff. And the sun. This image here reminds me of the Waite Smith deck, and I wonder if they used decks like this, which had a different to the normal Tarot de Marseille image, as a template for their cards. Now, with those older cards, I often wonder if they should be known by different names, because the images of a tree, the woman and a spindle, the astrologer, and this were quite different from what we expect. Here's Judgment. That's not mirrored by the look of it, and neither is the World. So those are the trumps. As you can see, the artwork is quite different in these cards because there's color fades, and it's all very crisp and lovely. Now, moving on to the courts. Sorry, I need to provide the Fool first. There's the Fool, facing the other way. Now, the courts. As with the trump cards, a lot of them are reversed, and they also don't have any names on them. The thing I like a lot about the Vieville deck is the variety of expressions on the faces. The CBD tarot has very muted expressions, and the creator of them, Yoav Ben-Dov, in his book, The Marseille Tarot Revealed, says that he deliberately did this to so he thought the original cards were too gloomy for modern day readers. I think that's a big mistake. Look at the expression on the King of Wands here. He's looking quite sassy, I reckon, and the position of the hand on the hip there gives a completely different feel to this figure over here, which is just kind of smiling benignly as he looks over to the right. This person here looks like he might have more to say than this one here. There's a Valet of Cups. This Knight of Cups here also looks a lot more determined than his counterpart in the CBD. Again, as you can see, there's a lot of image reversals, and the kings all seem to face to the left in the Vieville as opposed to the right. I wonder what this fella here is pointing at. The value of coins is reversed there. There's a queen. They both look pretty much similar in expression. Quite happy with their big coins. And the last of the courts, not the last of the courts, we've still got the swords to go. Interestingly, the Knight of Swords expression isn't that fierce, and I would have expected it maybe, being the weapon wielder with the weapon. Queen of Swords, and finally the King of Swords. So those are the trumps and the court cards. I'll just move these out of the way. Okay, so now if we look at a few of the pip cards to point out the particular differences there, the aces are mostly the same, although the hands come from the other side of the image. And also, with most of the cards in this deck, the tokens are being held by the left hand instead of the right. Now, the Ace of Coins in the Vieville deck is quite interesting because the text, unlike the text on the card of Temperance in the trumps, is readable left to right, apart from the S's that are backwards for some reason. The sword, no, it's the left hand too. There we go. The Two of Cups, instead of just a badge with an emblem on it, we have some more text that is readable. The ribbon goes around the coins the other way, but again, the text is readable. And there's the last of the sort of trademark cards, the Four of Coins. Now, it's interesting to consider how it is that the text on the trademark cards is not reversed. I think perhaps Monsieur Vieville thought that it was more important to have the text the right way on his trademark cards than the rest of them, because after all, these kind of cards are meant for gameplay and were probably considered a disposable item at the time. Now, as you can see here, the 10 of Cups, the token on the top, is facing the other way than usual. And also, unlike the standard version, there are some floral embellishments on the 10 of Cups, as there will be in the 9 of Swords, 9 of Wands when we get to that card. So just having a look at a few of the pip cards here. Here we go. We've got more floral embellishments than you usually get. And also we can see those lovely color fades in there instead of just the blocks of color. These are the threes. Got flowers here on the 3 of Swords instead of just leaves in the middle there. Now we go on to the 6s. Again, the floral embellishments seem to be a bit more than what you'd expect. Finally, I have the 9s for you. As I mentioned before, no floral embellishments typically on the 9 of Wands, but we have them in the Vieville deck. And there we have it. That's a quick run through of the trumps, the courts, and a selection of the pips for your viewing pleasure. What I'll be doing now is shuffling the cards and doing a sample reading so that you can have a look at what's going on there. And now for my sample reading. Let's go for a very common question, shall we? My imaginary querent, Shazza, wants to know how her relationship with her new boyfriend, Bruce, will develop and would like advice on what to do and how to avoid to either avert disaster or to ensure the happier prediction eventuates. To do this, I'll be using only the trumps card to form a cross-shaped spread where the 3 cards on the horizontal bar give the prediction and the top cards say what to do and the bottom cards indicate what should be avoided. If any of these cards need clarification, I'll draw additional cards from the courts and the pips. Okay, now because we live in a very litigious world, I have of course given Shazza the hashtag disclaimer that while I do believe that tarot can reveal insights into what may come to pass and give us new perspectives on our situation, fortune telling is actually illegal in many parts of the world. That I'm just a middle-aged bloke at an undisclosed location somewhere in an opal-hearted country telling stories based on the things I see on 78 small pieces of cardboard. If Shazza thinks that I'm a dead set legend and that everything I said is 100% fair dinkum and that she will absolutely act as I say the cards suggest without exercising her own judgment, well, that's on her. I'll just flip the camera around again and do the reading. Let's give the cards a bit more of a shuffle. And let's see how Shazza's relationship with Bruce is likely to develop. First card, we have Temperance. Second card, we have the Hanged Man. The third card, we have the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, when I look at these cards, I can see Temperance here looking off to the left. I think Shazza is thinking that the way the relationship has been going so far has been pretty good. The expectations are managed, and she's just trying to keep things on a fairly even keel. I'm not exactly sure what this club is for over here, but maybe that will be revealed later. In the middle, we have the Hanged Man in a different kind of pose. Generally speaking, when the Hanged Man is as he is regularly, I interpret that as a waiting game. Maybe Shazza over here would like things to move in a slightly different direction, but nothing's going to happen. If this is Bruce, he's not the sort of person to take any action at the moment because he doesn't feel he can. Finally, we have the Wheel of Fortune. This suggests that the relationship will have its ups and downs, but the wheel itself is on a spindle in a frame, so it's not really moving anywhere. This suggests to me that eventually I think that Shazza and Bruce will become a bit disillusioned with each other, with the fact that the relationship isn't really going anywhere, and that will lead to some discontent down the road. Okay, so what can Shazza do to avoid this? To avoid this situation, let's do the avoidance card first, shall we? That's down the bottom. What to avoid? The Chariot. Okay, the Chariot shows somebody in control. He's progressing towards the outcome that he wants. So in this case, I see that the thing to not do for Shazza is to try to take control of the things and move them in a direction that they don't really want to go. The horses are looking to the right, so I think the horses would like to move things on, but the charioteer himself needs to take some control and go the other way. The expression on the Chariot's face there is not too happy. So I guess Shazza, the reason why she might try to move things along is because she's a little discontent, as I suggested. So what should she do? Well, perhaps she should end it. The unnamed card, well, they're all unnamed in this deck, suggests that the end is nigh. Unless she doesn't want, the end is what she should possibly consider, given that the relationship will have its ups and downs and not going anywhere. That in the middle here, we have perhaps Bruce not being able to do anything himself. Perhaps the best course of action for Shazza is to just end it at some stage and look for maybe a new boyfriend. Now, Shazza might be thinking, well, I don't really want to end the relationship. If I'm not going to do what the Chariot suggests and move things forward, what do you think would be the better thing to do? So let's have a look, draw a card or two from the courts and the pip cards to see what advice, what clarification rather, Shazza can have with regard to, if not driving the relationship forward, is there any other way that things might be settled? So I'll put one more card there. The King of Swords. Okay, the King of Swords is a man that is decisive. So I guess this could be suggesting to Shazza that maybe she confronts Bruce and tell him to make some decisions about which way the relationship is going. The King of Swords expression here is a little more benign. He's also looking towards this card here, which is the card that I thought represented Shazza's thoughts on the relationship, particularly its beginning. And so he might need to, if she prompts Bruce to have a good think about the situation and what, does he want to keep it or not, then I think that might be something that could also be done. The advice, though, is still possibly to end it. So maybe that's something she could try before choosing this outcome here. Let's see if we can get a pip card to think about what might be the things that will convince Bruce to take action, to be decisive, to be a strategist. We have the Ace of Wands here. Okay, so perhaps the thing that Bruce needs to think about is action. It's about possibly you need to get down off the tree that you're suspended from in the Hanged Man, and you need to start taking some action. Because maybe she could say, well, if you don't take action, then I will end it. So there we have it. That's my sample reading of the Tarot de Jaques Vieville. I like this deck and will probably reach for it from time to time, especially when I want to get more insight into occurrence matter, and the variety of facial expressions provide some hints to me, I think, about what the various actors in the situation are thinking. As of the date of this video, the deck is still available from the publisher, link in the description below, and it cost me about 80 Australian dollars plus shipping. Viewers, I hope you enjoyed this video and that you'll honour me with a subscription and tell me how wonderful I am in the comments below. If you'd like a personal reading, either private or for posting on this channel, please contact me at downundertarot@gmail.com to discuss the terms and conditions. I've been the reader, now signing off from the land of ragged mountain ranges of droughts and flooding rain.